Good morning, everybody. This is Rahul from Quick Heal Technologies. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on ransomware. The webinar will be presented by Mr. Nikhil More. Nikhil is an online marketing manager at Quick Heal. He has over 8 years of experience in digital marketing and a passion for technology and photography. Nikhil is a recognized expert in internet marketing strategies for the antivirus industry. He offers his vast experience in implementing comprehensive online marketing programs for the antivirus e-commerce industry. At Quick Heal, Nikhil is associated with the cybersecurity program, which is the company's corporate social responsibility initiative. With that in mind, I'll now pass on the mic to Mr. Nikhil so that he can take you through this webinar. Please enjoy this webinar.
Thank you, Rahul, and a very good morning to one and all for today's attendees of today's webinar. I would like to begin with wishing you all a very happy New Year, happy New Year 2015 from Quick Heal family. A little announcement before we start today's webinar. Now, today's webinar is on a very important topic, which is ransomware. Now, this is a little technical webinar, so I will be using some technical terms. You may have questions about this webinar. If you have, don't worry, make a note of these questions that you have and send us across those questions. So I will be sharing with you the email address for us, which is corporatecommunications@quickheal.co.in. You can send us your questions here and we will try our best to answer them. Let's begin with today's webinar. The topic is ransomware. Now, in today's topic, what we will be covering is what is ransomware? The basic concept of where this concept of ransomware came from. How does this ransomware operate? What is the modus operandi of it? We'll also try and see how did it evolve, what was the preliminary stages where the ransomware evolved. We will also see some background on ransomware. We will also see some famous ransomwares, although it's not something to be very proud of it because they have created problems for everyone and haven't helped us in any way. Most important, we'll see the tips to prevent a ransomware attack. We'll also like to share with you how does Quick Heal help in these kind of situations, and we'll summarize it. Now, I would like to begin this webinar with a very interesting screen. I would like to tell you what is the trends of ransomware. So if you go to Google Trends and see, ransomware is something which has been present and which has shown its evolutions in the beginning of 2006 and its peak that we see in 2013 continuing in 2014. If you look at the timeline, it was somewhere across in the month of September 2014. There were news about Indians which were hit the most with ransomware, which is basically a Trojan in terms of technology. Let's begin this webinar with an interesting poll. I would like to know from you, to prevent ransomware attacks, is it necessary to have your system and all programs up to date and patched? You have about 1 minute to answer these questions. This question, I'll repeat it for you. To prevent ransomware attacks, it is necessary to have your system and all programs up to date and patched. If you feel the answer is true, please click on true. If you feel the answer is false, please click on false. Now this is just to know if you are aware about the importance of having the system and your, when I say system is, I mean your personal computer and your gadget, the programs in there to be updated and patched with security patches that are released by the manufacturers of these programs. We have about 72% of our audience casted their votes, I would give about 10 more seconds to finish this poll before I go ahead and publish the report. Okay, I'm now going to close the poll and publish and share with you what are the results of today's poll. 91% of today's audience feels that yes, it is important to have your system and your programs up to date and patched. So audience, very correct. It is mandatory. It is very important to have your systems patched because that provides you with the most recent protection for your computers. I'll just proceed with today's webinar. Let's try and understand what is ransomware. Now, ransomware is a type of a malware which is widely classified or widely known as a Trojan. It restricts the access to or damages the computer for the purpose of extorting money from the victim. It also has the capability to encrypt a user's files, display different threat messages, and force the user to pay a ransom money via an online payment system. There are various types of ransomware, which we shall describe in detail in the later part of this presentation. This webinar describes in detail finding about the motivations, strategies, techniques utilized in creating and propagating ransomware. Now, how does ransomware operate? It is typically the ransomware propagates like a Trojan, like a conventional computer worm, entering a system, for example, a downloaded file or a vulnerability in the network service through which it gets downloaded to your personal computer. The program then will run a payload, which is a program such as it will begin to encrypt personal files on the hard drive. More sophisticated ransomware may hybrid encrypt the victim's plain text with random symmetric key and a fixed public key. The scam has evolved over time using various techniques to disable a computer. The most recent evolution locks the computer display and does not allow the user to access any program. The computer then displays a message that claims to be from a branch of a local law enforcement agency. Messages are usually something on the lines that we have browsed illicit material and you must pay a fine for that. Law enforcement logos are also used to give messages and authenticity. A lot of individuals do pay up either because they believe the messages are true or because they realize it's a scam and they want to restore the access to a computer immediately. Unfortunately, even if a person does pay up, the fraudsters do not restore the functionality. The only reliable way to restore functionality is to remove the malware. Initially, confined up to 1 or 2 countries in the Eastern European region, the malware has now spread throughout Europe, across the Atlantic Ocean to the United States and also to Canada. Criminals will go wherever there is money. So from a few small groups experimenting this fraud, now it has grown to several organized gangs taking this scheme to a professional level, and number of compromised computers has increased instantaneously. Ransomware payloads eliminate the ability for a person to restore the control of your computer without the help of a proper program which terminates the effect of malware on your system. Now, with this, I would like to know from you if a ransomware infection, the main cause, a primary cause it spreads through is via emails. What should you do in case you find such an email which is, I may say, unwanted or unknown or unexpected email? Should you delete such email? Should you open the email, read about it, or should you forward also to your friends? Let's see what does today's audience has to say about this. Now, ransomware emails, as I described in my earlier slide, these will have messages which will say that you have accessed content which you should not have, and it will have logos about the authorities, police authorities or investigation agency authorities. So they will have logos on it, and it will also state that if you don't act upon it, you don't pay a fine, you will be sued. There will be a suit filed against you in the court of law. So these kind of emails, when they come to you, what should your primary action be? We have about 76% of your audience voted in today's webinar. Let's see what the results of this poll are. Audience, pat your back, because this is exactly what should be done. You should delete such emails because these emails are fraudulent in nature. So you should not entertain such emails. Just do not even open them. From the subject lines, you would come to know about the type of email that will have, because the subject lines are uh, generally threatening kind of. So you should directly delete such kind of emails. You should not even open them, and please don't forward such emails to any of your friends or anyone that you know, because that is further going to damage, add to the damage that it will cause. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, let's learn about the timeline of ransomware. So the early variants of ransomware, which is the SMS ransomware. Now, the message in the SMS instruct the users to send a code via a text message to a premium rate SMS number. Now, what happens is it locks your screen. It shows you a message saying that this message needs to be sent to such and such number. They do not tell you that it's a premium number right then and there. It may tell you that it's a toll-free number, but it asks you to do that. The user would then receive a message containing corresponding unlock code, which would allow them to use it on your computer in case you have. It's like a fee for the ransomware that you have paid to get the key to unlock your computer. The second stage is the first stage evolution is the win lockers. Now this variant also locks the user's computer, but rather than displaying a simple demand for payment, it also uses social engineering techniques. The message displayed to the user claims to be from a law enforcement agency and indicates that required payment is a fine for illegal activity on the computer, such as distributing copyrighted material. The fine is required to be paid by using an online payment system such as Ucash or PaySafeCard. This type of ransomware is commonly known as WinLocker ransomware. In this version, the cost of the fine is much larger than the cost of premium rate text messages, as seen earlier. The payment currency is based on the region where the user is located, which could be like if you are in the United States, then it could be dollars. If you are in the United Kingdom, it would be pounds. If you are in the European Union, it would be euros. If you are in India, it would be Indian rupees. The next are the advanced program file encryptors. In this variant, in addition to locking the Windows screen, the ransomware encrypts the user's file using complex encryption algorithms. The user is asked for a ransom amount in order to decrypt the file. The user is required to make payment via online payment systems such as we mentioned above, that's Ucash and PaySafeCard. This type of ransomware is identified as file encryptum ransomware. In the latest variants, it's been observed that WinLocker ransomware is seen in action more regularly than file encryptum ransomware. This could be due to the fact that encrypting or decryption techniques require more development work than usual WinLockers. Moving ahead, let's see what is the background of ransomware. Ransomware generally are broadly categorized into two sections. The first is encrypting ransomware, and the second is non-encrypting ransomware. Now let's begin with the encrypting ransomware. The first known ransomware was in the year 1989, called as the AIDS Trojan, which is also known as the PC Cyborg, written by Joseph Pop, which triggered a payload claiming that the user's license to use a certain piece of software has expired, encrypted file names on the hard drive, and required the user to pay 189 US dollars to PC Cyborg Corporation in order to unlock the system. Mr. Joseph Pop was declared mentally unfit to stand trials for his actions, but he had promised to donate the profits from this malware to fund AIDS research. Now, moving on from there, late 2013, there was a propagation of an encrypting ransomware which was more commonly known as CryptoLocker, which used the Bitcoin digital currency platform to collect the ransom money. In December 2013, ZDNet estimated, based on Bitcoin transaction information, that between October 15 and December 18, the operations of CryptoLocker had procured about US $27 million from infected users. In turn, CryptoLocker would influence a range of copycats that would begin to spread in the months following, including CryptoLocker 2.0, Crypto Defense, which initially contained a major design flaw that allowed the private key to be stored on the infected system. In August 2014, discovery of a worm specifically targeting network attached storage devices produced by Synology. The second type is the non-encrypted ransomware. In February 2013, a ransomware worm based on the stamp.ek exploit kit surfaced. The malware was distributed via sites hosted on project hosting services, SourceForge and GitHub that claimed to offer fake obscene pictures of famous celebrities. In July 2013, the OS-specific ransomware worm surfaced, which displays a web page that accuses the user of downloading obscene videos. Unlike its Windows-based counterparts, it does not block the entire computer, but simply exploits the behavior of web browser itself to frustrate attempts to close the page through normal views. Now, there are various methods that can be used to protect yourself against ransomware. I would like to know from today's audience, regular data backup is essential to limit the effect of ransomware. What do you think? Do you think it's true or do you think it's false? Now, I'm sure you all are aware of the backup techniques that we use. There are external hard drives available where you can take a backup of your important data, important personal files, folders on your computer. There are also solutions available on the web on which you can take a backup on. So my basic question to today's audience is, do you think regular data backup is essential to limit the damage done by ransomware attacks? We'll have about 10 more seconds before we close today's poll. Till now, I'm very happy to see the audience response to today's polls because they have answered every question accurately. So, audience, keep your good work going on, and let's see what do this poll results have to say. I'm now going to close this poll and declare the results. 93% of today's audience feels that yes, regular backup is essential to limit the damage done by ransomware attacks. True. Imagine a situation where you have a ransomware attack and if you need your data immediately, a backup will always save your time and your money because your work won't be hampered. We will be able to remove the malware and we will be able to restore the system, but in the meanwhile you can still continue with your work. So moving forward, What are the famous ransomwares that we have seen in the past? The first is Reviton. A Reviton payload attempting to extort money from computer users by fraudulently claiming that the user must pay a fine to the Metropolitan Police Service. In 2012, a major ransomware known as Reviton began to spread based on a Citadel Trojan, claiming that the computer has been used for illegal activities such as downloading pirated software or uh, obscene videos. The warning informs the user to unlock their system, that they would have to pay a fine such as a voucher from an anonymous prepaid cash service such as Ucash or PaySafeCard. To increase the illusion, the computer is being tracked by law enforcement agency. The screen also displays the computer's IP address, while some versions display footage from a computer's webcam to give illusion that the user is being recorded as well. Reviton initially began spreading in the European countries in early 2012. Variants were localized with templates branded with logos of different law enforcement organizations based on the user's country. For example, variants used in the United Kingdom contained the branding of organizations such as the Metropolitan Police Service, the Collection Society PRS for music, and National Police National E-Crime Unit. In a statement warning the public about the malware, the Metropolitan Police clarified that they would never lock a computer uh, as a part of their investigation. The second very important ransomware was CryptoLocker. Encrypting ransomware appeared in September 2013 with a worm known as CryptoLocker, which generated a 2048-bit RSA key pair, uploaded in turn to a command and control server, and used to encrypt files using whitelist to specific file extensions. The malware threatened to delete private key if a payment of a Bitcoin or a prepaid cash voucher was not made within 3 days of the infection. Due to extremely large key size, it uses an analyst, and those affected by the worm considered CryptoLocker to be extremely difficult to repair. Even after the deadline passed, the private key would still be obtained using an online tool, but this time the price would increase to 10 bitcoins, which is approximately 2,300 US dollars, uh, uh, which happened in the month of November 2013. Now, between mid-March and August 2014, nearly 600 lakh 25,000 systems were infected with CryptoWall. According to a research report, in the same time frame, CryptoWall encrypted more than 5.25 billion files, a largest number of infected systems located in the United States, which were approximately 40% of the total. Then was nextly followed with Vietnam, the United Kingdom, Canada, and India with approximately 22,582 files encrypted. It was estimated that at least 3 million US dollars were extorted with from this malware before it was shut down. This was according to the website pcworld.com. The next is CryptoLocker F and Torrent Locker. In September 2014, a wave of ransomware surfaced that specifically targeted users in Australia under the name CryptoWall or CryptoLocker F. This worm spreads via fraudulent emails claiming to be failed parcel delivery notices from Australia Post. To evade detection by an automated email scanner that follow all links on a page to scan for a malware, this variant was designed to require users to visit a web page and enter a CAPTCHA code before the payload is actually downloaded, prevented such automated processes from being able to scan the payload. A notable victim from worms was Australia Broadcasting Corporation. Live programming of this television news channel ABC News 24 was disrupted for half an hour and shifted to a Melbourne studio due to the CryptoWall infection of computers at a Sydney studio. The source of this information was the cso.com.au from the news published on the 18th December 2014. Coming to the most important part of this webinar is understanding the tips to prevent ransomware attack. So if a message claims, if you see a message on your computer screen which claims to be from a law enforcement agency, as you see on the screen, this was an example taken from the United Kingdom. The Metropolitan Police was, the criminals used the Metropolitan Police logo to lock computer screens and to show that they are from a law enforcement agency. Now, if you see something like this on your screen and this message says that you are accused of visiting illegal websites or distributing illegal softwares, and you've been so please understand, this is nothing but you've been a victim of police ransomware. Now, this malicious software locks your computer and demands you to pay a fine in order to get it unlocked. This type of demand will never be done from a regular or a genuine law enforcement agency. It is a scam that is designed to generate huge profits from organized criminal groups. In order to prevent and minimize the effects of ransomware, we advise you to act diligently in this matter. Now, before we move ahead, I would quickly like to know from today's audience, what should you not do to avoid ransomware attacks? I would like to repeat this question for you. What should you not do to avoid ransomware attacks? Practice safe browsing habits. Install an antivirus software on your system or your PC. Download torrent files or free or unverified software. I would like to repeat the question again for today's audience. What should you not do to avoid ransomware attacks? So things that you should not be doing. The answers, I'll repeat it for you again. Practice safe browsing habits. Install an antivirus software on your system. Download torrent files for free or unverified software. We have about 70% of today's audience voted in today's poll. Let's see what the results reveal. Now we have about 17% people who say practice safe browsing habits. Well, this is something that you actually should be doing. The question was what you should not do. It was a tricky question. What you should not do, but practicing safe browsing habits is definitely the thing you should be doing. Installing an antivirus software on your PC, again, this is a very important thing you should be doing. What you should not be doing is downloading torrent files or free or unverified software. So this is something that you should not be doing. Let's quickly move ahead. The tips that you should be doing to be safe from any of the ransomware attacks. Update your software regularly. The many malware infections are results of criminals exploiting bugs in the software. So keeping these softwares up to date can help you keep safe from malware attacks. Use antivirus software. Antivirus software can help your computer free from any common malware. There are even softwares which come with specialized solutions for malware attacks, defense against malware attacks. Browse and download software only from trusted websites. So always use official sources and reliable websites to keep your softwares patched with last security releases. Use application whitelisting to allow specifically authorized applications to operate on networks. This mitigation helps prevent malicious software or unauthorized applications from executing. Remove, disable or rename any default system accounts wherever possible. Enforce strong passphrase policies to reduce the risk from brute forcing attempts. Implement account lockout policies to reduce the risk from brute forcing attempts. Monitor the creation of administrator level accounts by third-party vendors. regularly back up the data stored in your computer. As we spoke earlier, you can use different methods of backing up your computer. The most important is report. If you are a victim of ransomware, report it immediately to your local police authorities and a payment processor involved. Law enforcement agencies throughout the world work together to disrupt the activities of identifying fraudsters and bring scammers to justice. Sorry. Sorry. The most important information you give to the authorities, the more effectively they can target the most dangerous criminal organizations. Now, consult your antivirus provider on how to unlock and remove the infection from your computer. Let's go to the don'ts part. Don't click on banners and links without knowing the true origin of the banner. Don't take anything for granted. If a website warns you about obsolete software, drivers or codecs uh, that you do not trust, don't download it. Do not install or execute non-trusted or unknown softwares on your personal computer. Most importantly, do not pay any money. No law enforcement agency will ever ask citizens to pay a fine in such an aggressive way. None of the means of payment proposed for paying the fine are currently used by police or any courts of law. Let's see, how does Quick Heal help you in such situations. Now, the ingenious Quick Heal DNA scan technology is now enhanced to combine behavioral and characteristic inspections and monitoring of unsafe programs. This results in a clean and more up-to-date accurate detection of threats. Our advanced DNA scan technology blocks malware such as ransomware. Quick Heal's behavior detection module successfully detects and blocks around 90% of CryptoLocker, the ransomware which we talked earlier, samples successfully. Let's summarize today's webinar. The ransomware that locks a computer. What's a ransomware? It's basically a program that locks your computer and uses law enforcement's imagery to intimidate victims. We have seen the evolution of this. It started from Eastern Europe to Western Europe. From there it moved on to the United States and Canada, and from there it has come to the entire world. The scam has been copied and professionalized from early initial attacks with established online criminal gangs now entering this, so it has become all the more dangerous. Each gang has separately developed or brought its own different version of the ransomware. Now this malware is highly profitable, with as many as 2.9% of the users infected with this have paid money. An investigation into one of the smaller players in the scam has identified 68,000 compromised computers in just 1 month, which could have resulted in victims defrauded for up to 400,000, that's 4 lakh US dollars in payment. A larger gang using malware called Reveton that we discussed earlier was detected attempting to infect 5 lakh computers in a period of only 18 days. That's 18 days. Given the number of gangs operating ransomware scams, a conservative estimate is that over $5 million a year has been extorted from these victims. However, the real figures could be very high. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you very much for attending this webinar, and as I said earlier, since this webinar was a little technical in nature, if you have any questions, you can please write to us. The email address is provided you on your screen. This is corporatecommunication@quickheal.co.in. We all keep on publishing information about ransomware or malwares in general, threats, or our research findings on social media channels such as Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook. The page is facebook.com/quickhealav. You can also follow us on Twitter handle. Our Twitter handle is twitter.com/quickheal. For more information about Quick Heal products, you can please visit us on www.quickheal.com, or visit us on our blogs for more information. The address is blogs.quickheel.com. Please, there would be a poll, opinion poll about how did you feel today's webinar is. So please participate in this poll and let us know your feedback. Thank you very much. And now handing it over to Rahul.
Thank you, Nikhil, for the wonderful webinar on ransomware and its propagation techniques. Indeed, ransomware is a major malware that our users should look out for today, and we sincerely hope this webinar enabled you to gain enough knowledge to stay protected against ransomware in the future. Stay tuned for more webinars from Quickheel, and thank you for listening to our webinar on ransomware today, and have a nice day.